Good day, everyone. Today, I'll be discussing decentralization and local governance in the Philippines. Decentralization is one of the most important reforms in our country's political system because it gives more power to the local governments instead of letting the national government handle everything. Decentralization allows cities, municipalities, provinces, and even barangays to make their own decisions and manage their own resources. This shift aims to bring government closer to the people, making it more responsive and accountable. So, throughout this presentation, we'll explore more its concept, history, legal basis, and theories, and why it matters for governance today. So, beforehand, I'll let you know what's the difference between decentralization and centralization. But first, what is centralization? It is the condition where power and decision making are concentrated to the center, which I see as inefficient and unresponsive as the decision making are conditioned for one size fits all. Basically, the power is concentrated in the national government. The function, decision making, all is concentrated. So while the decentralization, it simply means transferring of power and authority from the national government to local government units or the LGUs. The goal is to make sure that this decision making are made by the officials who actually understand local problems and can respond quickly. Next is there are main two types of decentralization. First is political decentralization, or also called as devolution, where real powers are given to the LGUs. Political decentralization are sometimes referred as area approach because the decision-making power or the autonomy are given to the local government units. While the administrative decentralization, it is the delegation of functions from national government to its regional offices or field offices. This type of decentralization enhances the efficiency of national line agencies in providing direct offices through regional level. In short, decentralization empowers local officials and communities to shape their own development instead of waiting for the national government to decide everything. Local autonomy generally described as ability of LGU, whether regional or local level, to govern themselves and manage their own affairs, empowered on LGU Code of 1991. There are criteria of genuine autonomy. First is locally elected officials. They are able to elect officials on their geographical divisions, and these elected officials will carry out the function of government at local level. Second, clearly defined areas of responsibility. An autonomous local government must have specific responsibilities that is primarily accountable for. Third is defined relationship between national and local governments. It means there should be clarity in the scope of powers and function between units. Lastly is the authority to generate local revenue. It is the authority to levy taxes and generate revenue under the discretion of the law and ordinance. Decentralization has always been a central theme in Philippine political history, a continuing struggle to balance power between the national government and local units. So the story begins in 1899 under the First Philippine Republic. The Malolos Constitution established a local assemblies and elected municipal officials, a bold step toward people-led governance. But even then, limits were set, especially in taxation to keep national control in check. Then came the American colonial period from 1902 to 1935, which reversed this trend. The Americans centralized power under military and bureaucratic control, emphasizing efficiency and order over autonomy. The 1935 Commonwealth Constitution introduced the idea of supervision instead of control, allowing local governments some freedom. True real power still remains with the president. After the independence, there there is the Second Philippine Republic commenced in 1946 to 1972. Early autonomy laws such as RA 2264, RA 2370, and RA 5185 expanded local taxing and planning powers, laying the groundwork for modern decentralization. However, the Marcos regime from 1972 to 1986 reversed many gains. Martial law centralized authority as local leaders were appointed rather than elected. Even with pro-decentralization laws, real power stayed in Malacanang. And finally, the 1987 Constitution under President Corazon Aquino marked a turning point, formally recognizing local autonomy and leading to the Local Government Code of 1991, which remains the foundation of decentralization today. From colonial rule to democracy, the Philippines' journey toward political decentralization reflects a constant balancing act between national unity and local empowerment. The 1987 Philippine Constitution firmly upholds local autonomy. Article 2, Section 25 declares it as state policy to ensure the independence of local governments. Article 10, Section 2 to 6 further strengthen this, guaranteeing that LGUs enjoy local autonomy, have their own revenue sources, and receive a fair share of national taxes. Congress is tasked to create a local government code to define powers and responsibilities, while the President maintains only general supervision, not control. Together, these provisions form the legal backbone of decentralization in the Philippines. Now for the legal basis, which is the Republic Act 7160, the Local Government Code of 1991, legislation that operationalizes the constitutional mandate for local autonomy. It established a system of decentralization, transferring powers and functions from the national government to LGUs. It provides the framework for the organization, powers, function, and finances of LGUs. It includes mechanism for recall initiative and referendum at the local level. This is the Mandanas-Garcia ruling. One major development in decentralization is the Mandanas-Garcia ruling of 2018. The Supreme Court decision expanded the just share of LGUs in national taxes. Before, LGUs only got a portion of taxes collected by the BIR. After the ruling, their share now includes all national taxes, not just BIR collections. This means LGUs receive more funds, which give them greater fiscal autonomy. It empowers local governments to launch their own development programs and deliver better services without depending too much on national allocation. However, with more money also comes greater responsibility to use it properly and transparently. And now we're down to our last part, which is the theories of decentralization. Decentralization is backed by several theories that explain why it's beneficial. First, the efficiency theory that says local governments can deliver services better because they understand their people's needs. Second is the democratic participation theory, argues that decentralization strengthens democracy by giving citizens a voice in decision making, especially exercising their rights of suffrage. And lastly is the accountability theory that suggests local officials are easier to monitor since they are closer to their constituents. This theory shows that decentralization is not just administrative reform. It's a way to promote democracy, efficiency, and good governance. And that's a wrap. To summarize it all, decentralization in the Philippines is more than just a system. It's a commitment to democracy and participation. It gives power back to the people, promotes transparency, and makes government more responsive to local needs. The Local Government Code, supported by the 1987 Constitution and later done the Mandanas-Garcia ruling, ensures that local government are genuine partners in national development. As citizens, we must also do our part by participating in local governance, attending consultation, and holding our officials accountable. With decentralization, true progress begins not from the top, but from the grassroots, where people live, work, and dream for a better community.